What's up, guys? Silver here with part 3 of our LASO walkthrough. This is Nightfall. This is the fastest and easiest mission in Halo Reach. You could skip most of the enemies in this mission, so it makes it very manageable. We're going to start off by sprinting forward, and we're going to come upon an elite who has his back to us, so we're just going to assassinate him real quick. You want to make sure that you just tap the assassination button. You don't want to go into the full animated assassination, because that will draw attention to you from the surrounding enemies. Some of them are sleeping, but some are awake, so you want to make sure you kill that elite quick. Just a quick back smack, and then we're going to sprint in this direction and just keep going for a little bit. But for this next section, the enemies spawn in random locations, so this might work, it might not. It usually does, though, and if it doesn't, you could always just restart. But a little prior to this, I like to stop sprinting, so I have full sprint once I reach this part. When I jump onto this balcony over here, I want to have full sprint, so I could just sprint around and hug the right and wrap around this building, and we could see that nobody spotted me this time around, which is good. That will usually happen. Again, sometimes it doesn't, but you could always restart the mission and get there easily enough very quickly. There's a health pack on the wall there if you need it, but we're going to run past the enemies here and run straight into the building ahead, and you don't always need to throw that grenade. I like to throw it in case there's a bunch of enemies kind of gathered there. Sometimes there's more than other run-throughs, and sometimes there's not that many, like this time. So I didn't need to throw the nade there, but if there was a bunch of enemies hanging out there, you throw the nade to just stun them. You don't really care about killing them. You just want to stun them so they don't shoot at you right away. And this is very unusual. The grunt here is usually on this turret, so I usually just snipe him in the head before running out here, jump down here and follow this path. And we're going to use our second grenade to throw at these two guys who are coming around the corner. There's a grunt and a jackal, and you want to just stun them as much as possible. You're not really concerned with getting the kills here, more so than just getting them to not shoot at you. So throw a nade so they dodge, and then you could just continue shooting at them if you can while you're moving past them so they don't have a chance to shoot back at you. And then we're going to hop up on this rock and watch these giant indigenous creatures go to town on these grunts. And you could help them out as well. Really, we are done with the hardest part of the mission already, and we're just going to cruise through the rest of the mission. You could just wait for these giant animals to kill all the grunts, or you could just help them out to speed things up a little bit. You have a ton of sniper rifle ammo to start this mission, and we didn't really use any of it, so feel free to use as much as you want, because we don't really need it at all anymore. So I sped this part up because we're just running through some caverns or some passes, whatever you want to call them. So this is an area where we're going to totally ignore the objective. We're supposed to help the local militia survive. There's a bunch of waves of Covenant that come at these guys, but we're going to just totally leave them, hang them out to dry, and we're going to jump up on this rock and jump up here. But if that's too tough for you, you could always just wrap around this way. It's a little more risky because you get closer to the elites and all the other enemies towards the middle of this section. And you can see I'm getting shot at now by the turret on that Phantom because I took a little longer than usual to wrap around here. But we just took cover real quick and waited for him to become distracted by the militia over there, and then we just started going over here again, and we're going to speed this part up because we're just running through some caverns. There's nothing to it. Just follow this path. And we're going to come to the Powerhouse section, the multiplayer map, and this is a really easy section as well. This whole mission is very easy once you get past those two first sections that you run through. Those are the only real risky sections. But there's an elite up here, and there's some sleeping grunts as well, so we want to make sure we take the elite by surprise. So we're going to hide behind these rocks and wait for the elite to move, just kind of look at him, wait for him to move, and then once he does, we'll be able to close the gap and come up behind him and smack him. So he's moved. Now we know we have enough time before he moves again where we could get up behind him, smack him in the back. These grunts we want to punch in the head. We don't want to punch them from the side or from behind them because that will get their methane tanks to explode possibly, which might get the other enemies to wake up, which would not be good. But get in this forklift because we're going to use it to go through this doorway. Normally you have to fight a bunch of enemies to kind of get these doors to open eventually, but we're going to just park the forklift with your left side up against it, because when you get out of a forklift, it ejects you to the left of the vehicle. So if we line up the vehicle where it's ejecting us right between the two doors, it will actually get us to squeeze through the two doors, and we could go to the other side of them. But you can see when you're in a forklift, you have a third-person point of view, so you can see where you're being ejected to if you just rotate your camera. So I could see if I need to move up a little bit or move back a little bit to get closer to that crack. But once you're through, you want to immediately start sprinting, because if you actually hang out by that door, all the enemies in this area will spawn in. But if you move forward quickly enough, they will all not spawn in, and you could just run to the end of the mission with no further resistance at all. It's great. One thing I should mention is the fact that the Iron Skull will send you back to the beginning of the mission if you die while you're playing solo. But there's a really easy workaround for that. If you do die, just immediately hit start and then go to save and quit. It'll kick you back to the menu, and then you just hit resume on the playlist, and you will start up at your last checkpoint wherever it is. And with that, that's the end of this guide. A quick and easy one. Who would have thought I'd be saying that after a LASO run? And that rhymed. So I'll see you on the next one, guys, which will be Tip of the Spear. Thanks for watching, guys. If you found that video helpful, be sure to click on the scorpion icon to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. You can also check out some related guides by clicking on the videos on screen, and you can find links in the description for other social media links of mine. Stay tuned for more Halo guides, and I'll see you in the next one.